Agents. Today I'm going to go over some quick tips and tricks within Bright MLS, just a little bit of an overview instructional video that's going to show you some things I've learned around the way that helped me. If you watch this video and there's something that you think I missed, something that you've learned that's helped you kind of navigate Bright easier, please let me know either in the comments or text me. I can do another one of these videos or delete this video and do it again. I'm happy to help in any way I can. So let's just get into this. If I click on search, we're going to just go into residential sale. We're going to start here because this is where we spend most of our time within the MLS. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is you can only do one of these at one time. You cannot do a radius search and then also try and type in a different town. If you put Camden County in here and then also try and search for Mount Laurel because you want to do all of Camden County and Mount Laurel, unfortunately you're going to have to do two searches or do a map search and draw all the way around Camden County and Mount Laurel. So it's probably just better to do two searches in that case. So stick to just using one of these things at a time. So map searches are great, self-explanatory. You can type in either anything you want. You can type in a zip code, it'll do the center of that zip code. Your radius, you could type in an address, it will do that property address, or you can type in an MLS number. That's a huge feature. If you type in an MLS number in here, you can do a radius search, whatever you want, half a mile, 1 mile, around an MLS number. Alright, so next thing that I want to talk about here is the subdivision and the neighborhood. This is a very useful tool here, but you have to be careful with it because this is not a required field for the agent to put in, or if it is a required field, you can't rely on the agent to put it in accurately. However, 99% of the time for bigger neighborhoods, it will be correct. Like for example, if I type in Woodcrest in Camden County, that's a big neighborhood in Cherry Hill, you're going to see we have 7 active listings there, and that's probably accurate, okay? It's just something to keep in mind when you're doing these searches. If the agent typed in no subdivision available, maybe they're not from the area and they don't even know that Woodcrest is a neighborhood, they type in no subdivision available because they're lazy, as a lot of agents are, you might miss a listing like that. So you might be better off doing a map search or radius search or something like that, so you're making sure that you're getting everything that's listed within that bubble. So the next thing to note is Postal City. This is kind of the most common one I think that you'll use. This is where you could type in Cherry Hill. You know, this is not going to be wrong. A listing agent is not going to be able to put a listing in Cherry Hill and type in Morristown here. This is going to be accurate because it goes based on the property address. Okay. So one more thing to note for this section here is subdivision neighborhood is important to note when you're thinking about towns like Westmont or Marlton, both of which are not actual cities. They are neighborhoods within a town. Like Marlton is Evesham Township and Westmont is actually Haddon Township. I think both of them are subdivisions or legal subdivisions. I never search for either of them. Unfortunately, your best bet is just to search for the whole city and then narrow it down in the map later. Alright, so moving on. Just an easy thing to note here when we're talking about anything within Bright, within rooms, bedrooms, bathrooms, or price, that you can use these symbols. Minus, plus. I actually think you can use comma too, but I never have. So let's say you wanted a 2+ bedroom, you can type in 2+. Let's say you wanted a 2 to 4 bedroom, you can do 2 to 4. You want to do less than a 4 bedroom, you do 4 minus. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. This also applies to price here. So if we go down up to price here, we can do our range here, 125 to 400. Take a note. I used to miss this all the time. Everybody misses this. You, by default, are searching in the thousands. So if you're looking for a rental, you need to either uncheck this, or you're gonna get you're not gonna get any results. So for rentals, you'd uncheck this and do 1,500, 1,550 to 1,800 or whatever you want to do. Kind of a helpful tip there. Next thing I'm going to show is that you can add additional fields to this search. So this stuff here is not all that we can search for. There are a million more things that we can use to narrow our search down. Like for example, these that I've done. You can actually put the tax amount in if you wanted to limit your search to 5,000 less in taxes, 7,000 less in taxes, like I've clearly searched before. If you click on this button, you'll see there are so many things that you can add to search in the MLS if you want to get that nitty-gritty or you're looking for something specific, like the selling agent. Who is the buyer's agent, on that house? Or let me look up this buyer's agent and see how many deals they've done in the last year. You can do all that type of thing with additional fields. All right, so next I think I'm going to just search a city. Let's just use Morristown for fun. Morristown, New Jersey. We've got 20 active listings right now. That's all that I've narrowed it down by. That's crazy. Is that accurate? I don't know. So at this point, we're within our searches here. These are your buttons right here that are your action buttons down here, okay? This is where you're going to go to. If you check off any amount of listings, you can now email those listings to somebody. You can print them out from here. You can create a CMA directly from here. You can do a lot of things from here. If you click refine, this is where you can click on narrow, and that will eliminate any listings that aren't checked off and just leave you with those 3 that you checked. You can discard listings this way, whatever you want. Okay, so saved search is also here once I've got these 3 checked. Let's say I wanted to come back and address this later. I can quickly save this in here, and it will save this search criteria that I've created whether or not I have anything clicked. So I actually don't need anything clicked for that. If I wanted to just do a Morristown save search, anytime I go into there, it's going to just bring me right back to this search. And then this is where you can also create your auto email, which is another video. I'm not going to get into that now. From here, I'm going to go into a property. Let's just see what we've got in here. There's some tips from within here to make your life a little bit easier. So up here on this bar are some really important items for you to note. If there are attachments like a seller's disclosure, this button right here will be a piece of paper. We'll see if we can find one. You can click on that, and that will give you all of the documents that have been uploaded into the MLS by the listing agent. So you know right away if there's a disclosure, it will be right here. You can click on it. If it's not there, you're going to have to text the agent and ask for it. Moving on. If you click the H button, you can see the property history. This will show every time it was in the MLS back to whenever it was started to be used in the 90s. So you can see the past listings here. This might be helpful to see what it sold for before. It's a quick way to get to that. Next, you can click on this button right here. If, for example, you're preparing an offer and you want to put the seller's name on it, and just like this agent did, they did not leave the owner's name in there. They changed it to the agent's name. Okay, so that creates an extra step for you. Now you just need to click on this little button. This is the public records. And if it loads, in here we can see the owner's name right here. We can see the public records for tax amount, the last time it's sold. You can get the block and lot number from in here. There's a lot of information here, and this is the public record square footage. So a lot of information that you might need in here. This is where it can be found in that little checkbox. And actually, we just learned something there. Another tip is when you're looking at square feet, make sure you're taking note at what this says right here. If it says estimated, that means the agent messed with it. That means the agent took the public record square footage and messed with it somehow. Maybe they added for a finished basement, maybe there's a sunroom that they didn't get permits for, so the living space isn't counted in the public records and it's not accurate and they added it. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but it means you as the agent need to do a little bit more research. For this one, when we clicked on public records, we saw that square footage in public records is actually about 500 square feet less right here, 300 square feet less. So I don't know where they're getting that additional 300 square feet, but we can see that it's not accurate. So just important when you're looking at comps and you're talking to your clients. These buttons are a great buyer net sheet, seller net sheet. I always send a buyer net sheet, or a buyer estimated closing costs. I'm sorry, not a buyer net sheet. It's a closing cost worksheet. When you click on this, it'll auto-populate all of the information for this property based on the sales price, and you can kind of go through and add your closing costs for your buyer. This is another video. Same thing for the seller for a net sheet, so they have an idea of what they get, but you can quickly do that right from here. Otherwise, you've got to come in here in financial, and you can do that here, buyer closing costs, seller net sheet, and at that point you'd be able to type in the address and do it the same way. The last thing that I'm going to show is my favorite and fastest way to pull up a single property quickly. Let's say you're on the road, you're out, you have somebody who says, hey, I want to see 123 Main Street in Morristown. This is going to pull up a lot of listings, but first thing you're going to do is log into Bright. This is your home page. At this point, you just need to get to the next page where that orange bar is. You can do that one of two ways. You can just type literally anything you want in here and hit enter, and it will take you to the next page. There's not going to be any results. Or from the home page, you can click search, click on literally anything. Okay, now we've got our orange speed bar back. Why this isn't on the front page, I don't know. At this point, you can type in anything you want. You can do listing, you can do MLS numbers with commas in between it, and that will give you multiple results for all those MLS numbers that you put in there, or you can type in an address. Let's just type in, I'm just going to type in a random address, 123 Main, and you can't type the street, you just type in 123 Main, you hit enter, and now you're going to see any listing in the MLS. We've got Richland, Virginia, I don't know, we've got all over the map. It searches, it's just pulling all of the results. So you can quickly then sort by status, and boom, here are all our active listings with 123 Main Street. And now we can see, okay, we were looking for that one in Carney's Point. Boom, here it is. I've got that listing in 2 seconds. Otherwise, I would have had to go into search, click on residential sale, type in the address name, 123, I don't know, is that what it is, to 125. Do I need a prefix? I don't know, Maine, and then you have to type the town. So it's just taking you a lot more time than if you would just go right here and type in, 123 Maine. Boom. There's all your 123 Main Street listings, past, present, and future. Click by status, and now you can see where it is. Or you could click by date if you knew that it closed in 2020, and then you can see, okay, here's that Westernport listing they were talking about. Let me click on that. And that's an easy and fast way to bring up a listing. And I do it all the time when I'm on the phone with a client. If they talk to me about an address and they say, you know that listing over in Barrington? Like, I'm involved in every single listing to ever hit the MLS. And no, I don't. But I can quickly pull it up this way faster if they know the address than if I were to have to go in here and do a search for it. And the benefit of this is it also shows you the old listings for it. So it's going to show me that, okay, it's sold. It's active now, it sold last year, blah, 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 because typically I'm not searching 123 Main Street and there's only a few listings that come up here. Like, let's say I search this address to Wellington, there's only 38 listings here, so I know if I do by date here, in the last year, there's only 4 listings that ever even came up here. So just another helpful tip. This is a longer video, this is the end. Let me know if I can add anything. Thanks for watching.